What's going on, everybody? Today we got ourselves our NFL playoff predictions. Week 17 has just ended. Crazy last couple of minutes, but we're going to jump into it. Teams have won, teams are in, teams have lost, teams are out. But we're going to go ahead and jump into our playoff predictions all the way up to the Super Bowl, as well as our Super Bowl predictions with the games starting next week. Now, if you enjoy these prediction types of things, I've done a World Cup one. Link will be in the description. And I also do video game commentaries, other things of that nature. If you're interested, hit that subscribe button. But let's jump into it. NFL playoff predictions will start here, and this is what the bracket looks like with that late Bengals win, that crazy win. Late 50-yard touchdown to Tyler Boyd. This is what the AFC looks like. Jaguars home to the Bills, 3-6. Kansas City home to the Titans, 4-5, and then the Patriots and Steelers are 1-2 respectively. And then the NFC, Rams at home to the Falcons, who are the only team of the four here to win today. Rams at home to the Falcons. Saints, who lost their way to the division title with a Panthers loss, are at home to the Panthers. And the Eagles and the Vikings are 1-2 respectively as well. So we're just going to jump into this. I'm going to give you my score, and then we're just going to talk about it a little bit and move on. It's not going to be overly long, but let me know what kind of predictions you guys have, Super Bowl predictions, whatever you want, in the comment section down below. So let's jump into it. We'll start here. Los Angeles Rams at home to the Falcons. Falcons did win today, 22-10. Rams got beat heavily, but they were in and out of players who were playing and things of that nature, but the Rams did beat them, or the 49ers did beat them. But the Rams have had a good year, a lot better than most people had thought. Falcons have had a decent year as well. Obviously, we're in the playoffs here, but they were one game away from being out, and it's a tough place to go. Los Angeles, new stadium there, or they're playing in a different place, obviously. New set of fans, but they've been playing well. Offensively, they've been scoring tons of points, these Rams. Defensively, they've been pretty decent as well. That's a pretty nice combination, especially going into the playoffs. Atlanta have been playing pretty well recently as well, but they have that loss to the Saints in there. And I don't know, some of their performances have been a little bit abject here and there. They did beat the Saints 20-17. That performance was kind of all right, but they did win the game, but it didn't seem as a complete performance. It's been a long time since they've had like a complete performance. They played the Saints a couple weeks later, and that game's score was a lot further away than the score intended. They didn't score till late. They were having troubles on offense. It's a very difficult game for them. They beat the Panthers today 22-10. And again, I don't know if they can score enough to keep up with these Rams. Defensively, these two defenses are pretty similar. I just like these Rams, especially on offense. I think they have enough on offense to hold their own, and I think they have enough to win the game. So I like Los Angeles 31-23. And we'll go into the second game here. Saints home to the Panthers. I like the Saints here 24-21. And I really only like this because they're home. They kind of lost again today. Another late 40-yard touchdown Jameis Winston threw to beat them. I think it was 31-24. They ended up losing. The Saints, but the Panthers lost as well. They didn't look good today at all. It seems when Cam Newton's not in rhythm, the whole team is just not good. They're not scoring points. The defense doesn't seem to play well. Everything revolves around Cam Newton. And to go into New Orleans where they're going to pound the rock, they're going to kill time, they're going to score some points. It may be a difficult place them to go. New Orleans has beat Carolina twice, and I know it's very hard to beat teams 3 times in one season. It doesn't happen very often, but I like these Saints to pull it out just late. I really like the running game. The running game, Kamara and Ingram, it tilts me over the edge personally. Drew Brees is still very, very competent, if not very good still. And Cam Newton's going to have a really, really big day. McCaffrey and the running game, Jonathan Stewart, they're going to have a big, big game. They're going to have to trade punches in the end if that's going to be the case. And their running game is going to have to be big. The defense is going to have to come up big. I don't know if all that will click, though. It hasn't yet against New Orleans, and I'm not sure it will come playoff time. I like the Saints 24-21. Now we'll move over to the other side, Jacksonville and Buffalo. I like this matchup for the Bills, who won their way in late. But this just seems like with McCoy, he kind of went out there. Whether he's 100% or not will be huge in this game. This Jacksonville defense is so tough. And the Buffalo Bills have themselves a good defense too. That's why I like this low-scoring game. It just seems that the Jacksonville have been playing a lot better on offense than Buffalo has. Buffalo seems to win their games pretty low-scoring. They had a chance against the Patriots, and then Tyrod Taylor turned the ball over early. That's one of those things that almost killed the game immediately. When we were watching the Patriots-Bills game, opening drive, they're marching down the field, and then Tyrod turns the ball over with a silly mistake. You can't afford silly mistakes against this Jags defense, and I don't know if Tyrod Taylor and the offense is good enough, especially if McCoy's not 100%, to overcome this defense. And I think the defense will win Jacksonville this game. Blake Bortles has had a pretty good year, especially when people thought this was probably his last year. He's probably not anymore. He's shown he can do it here in Jacksonville. The offense has been much better than it has in recent years, and I think it's just good enough today to score enough points to beat the Buffalo Bills. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars 13-10 over the Bills. Now, Chiefs-Titans. Kansas City started off red hot, 5-0, and then they kind of backed their way into the division title, beat the Chargers late, who I kind of wanted to get into the playoffs. I think they're better than Buffalo and Tennessee, but they didn't make it in. Buffalo won their game, Tennessee won their game, and got themselves in the playoffs. But Kansas City did beat the Chargers pretty handily the other week to win the title. Tennessee, on the other hand, I think are the beneficiaries of a really poor division. They did beat Jacksonville twice, but the Colts in there, the Texans in there, I think it gives them a couple extra wins, and they only won 9 in a soft division, and that kind of scares me a little bit going into the playoffs. Mariota's been pretty average all year long, and Andy Reid's offense, whether you enjoy it or not, or whether you think anybody on the offense is any good or not, it gets them enough points to get by. The defense is good. They've got a good defense, and if defense is on point, and carry them deep into these playoffs. But I don't know. I just don't see anything from the Titans. Every time I'm watching the Titans, it's just average football to me. They back into a couple wins, played a bunch of really bad opponents. I don't know. I really just like this Kansas City team. Kareem Hunt ran well this week. He's been running well as of late. A little bit, he's had like an up and down kind of season, really up to start the year when they were 5-0, then a dip when they were playing badly and losing games, and then it's back up again. They've been winning lately. When Kareem Hunt and the offense are running the ball well, they're playing well, and it's just been upward trend for me. I like Kansas City Chiefs here, 27-14. So that leaves us with a bracket that looks like this. Eagles at home to the Saints, Vikings at home to the Rams, Pats at home to the Chiefs, and Steelers at home to the Jaguars. Couple rematches all around, but we'll take a look. So here we'll start New Orleans and Philadelphia. I don't know. I was really up on the Eagles up until they lost Wentz. And then Foles played pretty well that first game, and then it's kind of been downhill. He only played a couple series today, 4 of 11, 39 yards, I think it was, a pick. He just has not been playing well lately. And to me, this Eagles system is pretty tailored for quarterbacks. For him to not be playing well is kind of a bad sign. This New Orleans defense it's pretty good. They've held opponents pretty low scoring most of the year, and the offense is just going to score. Now, with the Eagles, I know their defense is good, but I'm a Giants fan personally, and I watched us rip that defense apart, and it scares me a little bit going into the playoffs. This running game is tough to stop. Drew Brees is tough to stop. I don't know if they can hold New Orleans low enough and keep themselves in the game if Foles isn't playing lights out. I'm just not sure that could happen. I don't think it will happen, and I personally like the Saints 31-17 over the Eagles. Now the other side, Vikings and Rams, who played earlier in the year. Vikings won that game, and I like them to win this one as well. I don't know. Case Keenum's been playing pretty well. He's only got to be serviceable. This defense is tough. They don't let up very many points. They turn you over. I know Goff, this is going to be his second, according to me in here, his second playoff game. His first road playoff game to go into this dome with this noise. It's going to be tough for him, tough for the offense, and the defense is just going to have to play really well. I think this Vikings defense is going to keep the Rams low scoring. So if the Rams defense doesn't come in and play really well, they're not even going to be close. I don't think they're even be in touching distance. But if the defense comes in and plays well and the offense doesn't turn the ball over, they definitely have a chance to win this game. I just think that this defense, second-year quarterback, his first road game in this dome with the noise, I think Case Keenum does enough on offense. And I think the Vikings defense smothers that offense a little bit. And I like the Vikings 24-19. Now we'll move in. AFC side now. New England Patriots 28, Kansas City 17. This is a rematch of Week 1 where Kansas City stunned everybody with their opening night win. I mean, really ripping that Patriots defense apart. But I like this defense a little bit more than I did back then. Especially in the first week. They've kind of gotten it together as the year goes on. It's a little bit better, and I think the Patriots will be definitely more prepared. They won't be underestimating them this time around. I think the offense is better, definitely clicking more, definitely as you go deeper into the season. I mean, this is two different teams here from Week 1. Week 1, the Patriots were still figuring things out, especially on defense. First couple weeks, figuring stuff out on defense, getting the offense clicking as they normally do. And then Kansas City was riding really high and started right off the bat and were beating everybody. And then it's fallen off a little bit, and the Patriots have gone up. It's almost like an opposite trend after the first 3-4 weeks with these two teams. And I don't know, home field advantage in the cold. Alex Smith is going to have to outscore these Patriots. I'm not sure with the revamped defense here in New England, not revamped, but playing better. I'm not sure if he can keep up scoring-wise. I just like these Patriots. 28-17, home game, Tom Brady. It's difficult to back against, but I don't know. I really like these Patriots to win this game, 28-17. Now this was kind of a tough one to pick for me. They played earlier in the year, and Jacksonville whooped the Steelers 30-9. Roethlisberger threw 5 picks. Steelers, they just beat the Browns this week, but nobody played. And they gave the Patriots a good fight. Antonio Brown missed a chunk of that game, and depending on your view of it, they could have, should have, would have won, whatever it may be. I'm talking about the Patriots game. In the Jacksonville game, they turned the ball over 5 times. I don't know. It seems to me that they'll be better prepared this time around, the Steelers. Excuse that earlier bit. I'm talking about the Patriots-Steelers game. But I meant to say they ran the Patriots tough, and they've been playing well as of late. Then I started talking about it. But the Steelers been playing well as of late, as I said. But during that 30-9 win for the Jacksonville Jaguars, defense was lights out for Jacksonville, as it almost always is. But the last month or so, Jacksonville lost today, and they seem to play everybody for a majority of the part. 15-10 to the Titans, who they lost to twice. And the Steelers have been playing well as of late. They've won all their games recently except the Patriots game, which is what I was getting at. And they could have, should have won it, depending on your view. Now, you can almost take to the bank that Roethlisberger is not going to throw 5 more picks. I think they're going to run the ball a little bit more. I know this Jacksonville front 7 is tough, but this Pittsburgh Steelers, they put up 30 points and the Steelers turn the ball over 6 times. I don't know. I think if they limit the turnovers, the Steelers, and they don't turn the ball over at all, I don't know, Jacksonville may not score more than 10 points. It just seems like that tends to be Jacksonville's game. If they're going to turn you over, which they almost do all the time, whether it's the Steelers here, whether they're looking ahead or trying to force things. If they're not forcing against this defense, I think they win this game. If Le'Veon Bell's running well, I think they win this game, and Antonio Brown will be back. I think they're going to be hungry to get into that championship game and play the Patriots again. I think they're going to be so hungry to get back in and try and beat them when they think they could have or should have the first time around. I just think that Jacksonville, first time in the playoffs in a long while, I'm not sure how well that bodes for teams, how deep they could actually go, but they're very much dangerous, and this is very much a heads or tails kind of game for me, and I really like, I don't know, I really just leaning home team. Deep in the playoffs, 1-2 seeds, I'm just leaning home team. This game is definitely a flip of a coin for me. That Jacksonville defense is so tough. I can't explain it enough. That is so tough. But I think the Steelers have enough on offense this time around, less turnovers, and I think they win this game 27-24. Now we're into the last 4 teams. Patriots, Steelers, Vikings, and Saints. So we'll jump right into it here. Screw it, we'll just show both because I can't get the mouse to work. Vikings, Saints. Vikings played the Saints earlier in the year as well. Those were 2 different teams as well. Saints were kind of just finding their gear. They lost their first 2 games. One of the Vikings. But we'll see how it is second time around. But for me, this is all about home field advantage. They talk about home field advantage. Playoff time is so important. And this dome, I think, is going to be rocking. The Super Bowl is in Minnesota, if I remember properly. And they're going to be rocking here, especially going right to the Super Bowl. They're going to be amped on defense. They're going to be flying around. New Orleans is really going to have to run the ball really well, which is something they do. But if this Viking defense can really play. So if Vikings defense is stuffing the runs, keeping them quiet in the run game, just kind of toning it down a little bit, making Drew Brees throw more than he wants to, more than they have to, this defense is going to turn the ball over. I like this low-scoring game. It can really go either way, especially if the Saints are running well. I think they can definitely win this game. But Keenum, I think, can do enough on offense. I know it's third string or whatever, but Keenum's had a really good year. Turns the ball. Some games he's kind of turnovery, and some games he plays really lights out. If he's playing lights out all through the playoffs, there are going to be very few teams that can go into Minnesota and win this game. But if he's playing serviceably, I think the defense can, if they're playing lights out, you only need one side. With the Vikings, you only really need one side to play lights out. The defense is playing lights out. Keenum can play. If Keenum's playing lights out, the defense is just going to hold, and that's it. And if one of those two are playing lights out, you're not going to beat the Vikings. And it's just a very tough place to play. I know New Orleans is going to be coming off a couple wins, but I don't know, they seem like they can give up points sometimes. They seem sometimes like the running game, they rely too much on it. If they're stuffed at the line and the running game's not working, they have tough times winning games like most football teams. But it's more reliant with the Saints. The running game is so good. It's so important. Kamara and Ingram, they're so versatile, both of them. And Kamara's been playing lights out in his first year. I just like these Vikings defensively to win this game at home in the Dome, 21-15. And now the rematch, 35-31 to the Patriots. Depending on your view, Pittsburgh could have won that game. Should have won that game. Whether it's a catch or not is not up to me to decide. Not up to me to decide. But I don't know. Steelers were right there. They played a little bit without Antonio Brown. Still were right in the position. It just worried me for both sides. That last 2 minutes, how easily each side cut up their defenses, it kind of makes me worried, and that's why I like this high scoring game, 35-31, 66 points there. It just worries me. But with the Patriots, it seems playoff time. They turn those field goals into touchdowns. With the Steelers, I don't know. The defense always seems to be playing really well during the year, kind of well, and then it comes playoff time and it seems that they get ripped apart. Tom Brady just knows how to play this defense. And I'm not going to talk too much about James Harrison there because that's got a whole bunch of layers that not everybody knows up and down. But if he's there, and he is, and he is on the bench, and he's got a couple tips and tricks here and there. I mean, he definitely knows the defense. You can't tell me he's not going to go in there and he's got a few tips and tricks. They're going to, I mean, Pittsburgh are going to change up signals and do all that, especially with one guy going over to the other team, but he'll know a few things. He'll know a few things about coverages, and if they see one coverage and he's got something on it, they may, sometimes that you only need one play, and then it's a touchdown over the top or whatever it may be. And the Patriots already have plenty of advantages, and they already score points on offense. It's just if this Steelers defense can hold well enough on defense, then they can definitely win this game. I just think home field for the Patriots, it's a very difficult game to call. Very difficult game to call. I really do want to pick the Steelers here. I don't know. I'm just going to go with my gut, though. I really think the Patriots are going to win this game. So here we are, off to the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, New England, and Minnesota. I like the Vikings here to actually beat the Patriots 27-21. Now, the Patriots defense has kind of been all right. As we said earlier, it's definitely gotten on an upward trajectory since the opening couple of weeks. Whether it's great or not, every once in a while they still have some lapses. They had that lapse with Juju there. Wasn't really a lapse, bad tackling, good blocking, but to let something like that happen that deep in a game, it's still worrying. The defense still kind of worries you a little bit, and Keenum, as I said, been playing pretty well. The wide receivers are good. The running game, it's serviceable as of right now. So if they're playing well on offense, Minnesota, I think they can score points. Now, New England are going to have to play this defense, which is so tough. They're going to have to protect Tom Brady. And watching the Vikings, every once in a while they bring some kind of unique blitzes and things of that nature, but a lot of the time it's just 4 down linemen, and then they make you throw on the coverage. That's how good the coverage is. If the 4 down linemen are getting to Tom Brady, Minnesota are going to win this game. And it's all about that 4 down lineman. It's all about that New England O-line. If they're going to protect Tom Brady and they're going to give Brady all the time in the world, then the Vikings are going to have to start bringing more people just to get to him. Then I think he'll pick them apart. But I think this front 4 can get back there past the O-line. I think they can get to Brady quick. I think they can get to Brady often enough where they can keep their coverages how they like to keep their coverages. And I think that'll keep the Patriots from scoring loads and loads of points. As for the offense, or as for the defense, it's got to step up. It's got to be perfect here. It's got to force Keenum into some bad throws. It's got to stop the run and make Keenum throw. It's got to be lights out. I mean, it's Super Bowl time. It's always got to be lights out. And I'm just not sure if the Patriots defense can keep the Vikings offense at bay like I expect the Vikings defense to keep the Patriots offense a little bit. I kind of like the Vikings, and I guess if you want to keep it this way, the Vikings defense and the Patriots offense is kind of a wash if you want. I would prefer the Vikings offense against this Patriots defense. I like that just a little bit more, and I think that tips it in the Vikings' favor. So I like the Vikings to win the Super Bowl 27-21. Now, you can agree, disagree, let me know in the comments that is it for the video. When Super Bowl time comes around, we'll redo the Super Bowl video. I probably won't be right? Anyone, not very many people are always right from this stage, but we'll see. If when the Super Bowl comes around, we'll make our predictions. But for now, guys, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed our NFL playoff predictions. Stay tuned for more. Peace.